Welcome to Dabble Art Gym. We are your coaches, Dee Dee and Summer, and we're here to train you to work out your creative mind.
Today we will be breaking down the basics of watercolor. We will teach you what equipment to use and the proper form to prepare you for the next workout. But before we begin, please subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified every time we release the newest Dabble exercise and motivational hack.
We have taken our experience as artists combined with mindfulness and narrowed it down to these 3 steps to begin dabbling in watercolor. If you are choosing to work out at home, you might consider creating a space for all of your equipment. Think about creating the same type of space for your art supplies. Have your space be comfortable, no distractions. Mute your phone and put it far away from you. You can light candles, play music, decorate with plants. Make this your space, something that inspires you.
Yeah, that's why I like to surround my area with disco balls and bump house music.
I like to light incense and get into the zone with my headphones. The easier it is to get into your space, the less you will procrastinate. Make it appealing to you so that you want to go there and enjoy it.
Now that you have a space to work out your creative mind, let's get you familiar with the watercolor equipment you need to fill up the space. These are the items that you need to get started.
First, you need a cup of clean water.
Towels. Paper towels or washable towels are great for fixing mistakes and drying up brushes.
Any type of water-resistant tray, plate, or palette.
Paint. Watercolor paint comes in 2 forms: dry pans or liquid tubes that you can pour out yourself.
Brushes. The type of brush you want to use is ultimately up to you depending on your preference. There are 3 types of brushes we think are most essential: flat brush, round brush, and liner.
Watercolor paper. When you go to choose watercolor paper at the store, you may notice that there are 3 different types. Don't worry about picking the wrong one. Hot press means that it is smooth, rough is rough, and cold press is in the middle. There are also sketchbooks and journals that you can have fun filling in.
These are the supplies we recommend to get started in watercolor. However, there are many more materials you can use to enhance your experience. Let us know in the comments below what supplies you would like to learn more about.
At the gym, a trainer may tell you to focus and engage your muscles. So try bringing that same level of awareness to your brush strokes. This will switch it from being an ordinary task into a mindful activity. We will dive more into the benefits of mindfulness later in our series. So for now, let's get started on our first technique. The first technique is our wet on wet technique. Think wet brush to wet paper. But before you do anything, you want to make sure that your paint is wet and ready to go. I'm going to be placing just water on the paper without any paint on it at all. So before I do that, I need to make sure my brush has been cleaned with no pigment on it. I'm using a flat brush, but any brush works here. I recommend trying with flat or a round brush. Now my brush has wet paint and I barely touch the surface of the wet paper and it does all the work for me and the paint flows. This technique is also referred to as a wash, and it's great if you want to cover a large surface of your paper or for a background. A gradient is when a color value goes from lighter to darker, or vice versa, darker to lighter. I am creating a wash again to execute this gradient. So you see me placing down just water first, and then I'm going to put my wet paint on top of it. I'm starting from the top of the wash and working my way down, and with each new layer of paint, I'm doing less pigment and more water, and just touching the edge of my brush to the layer above so it will guide its way down naturally on its own with the water. But remember, less pigment and more water with each layer down. The wet on dry technique is a great technique when you are ready to create finer lines. So perhaps after you finished your background in a painting and you want to start tightening things up. For this example, I am using a smaller flat brush. But as you can see, I have more controlled strokes now. You can create thin lines by using the edge of the brush. You could use the corner of the brush as well to create smaller lines and patterns. Have fun playing around and creating new shapes. See what you can make. See what your intuition wants you to create with this brush. The round brush is one of my favorites because it is so versatile. You could create broad strokes as well as thin lines. So right here I'm doing something similar to the wash, but it is still the wet on dry technique. It's just a lot of paint and water on the brush. But it's more of a controlled wash. That was using the side of the round brush, and now I'm using the tip. I can control the path pretty easily as long as I am just concentrating on the point of my brush. Try making controlled strokes where you have your forearm resting against the table and you are only flicking your wrist. And just play. The last brush is the liner brush, and it is the longest and the thinnest, and it is the best option when you want to create the finest of details. Recommended using the wet on dry technique. So I'm just going to play around and create shapes, and you can try the same. So yes, it actually is possible to erase watercolor as long as your paint isn't too dry. So in order to do this, you have to turn your paintbrush into a sponge. So simply take it out of your water and dry it up with a towel. And then use the brush to sponge up the wet paint. Any remainder paint can be blotted off with a paper towel. This is a playful technique that I sometimes like to do when I am painting abstractly. After I load the brush up with paint, I just gently tap the middle of the brush with my finger. Visit our website and subscribe to our emailing list to stay up to date on all our newest dabble exercises and motivational hacks.
On our website, you can find our newest blog post with a review of these 3 steps you need to begin dabbling in watercolor. We also threw in some other fun bonus tips. You can find a link to this post in the description below.
Next week, we will dive into that mind of yours and teach you some exercises that will help you unlock flow. Be sure to check out last week's video if you want a reminder of what flow is and why we truly believe it is important to work out your creative mind. Please Please subscribe and hit the bell if you would like to get notified when we release our videos every other Thursday.
Thank you again, and if you love this, please hit that like button and share with your friends.